Okay, I've got several of my boards cut here for this top piece. I'll cut these little bottom pieces to fit after I get all these glued in place. And what I like to use is I prefer the Loctite gel control again to put this on. You're free to use whatever glue you like to use. I like to use this because it goes fast. And the way I go ahead and do this is I'll start with my side I decided was the worst, and I will go ahead and I like to use right from the applicator. I can get a pretty small dots of glue, and I'll just go ahead and see if I can get an angle on here, and I'll just place little dots. Get that in focus. Just little tiny dots all along the top. A little tricky doing this on camera, but see if I can get to work out here. Okay, and then since the top row of boards is going to go across these joints, I like to put a little extra glue on them to help make them stronger. So we'll go ahead and put a little bit on each one of those. Now, if I didn't mention it before, you're probably wondering why I didn't stain the strip wood before I started doing all this work. I know a lot of people stain the strip wood before they assemble something so that the glue joints, if you get a sloppy glue joint, it doesn't show, but I'm going to use the Sam Swanson's method of finishing it after it's done, and I'll explain that a little later as we go. Okay, so I got the glue on here, and now I'm going to take one of these boards here, and I'm going to come to start at the center of one of these vertical frames. Make sure it's at the top, and go ahead and glue it in. And keep working along the top rail. Find out which side you want in or out on this one here. This one doesn't show the other side. Exaggerate the joints a little bit too. I like to make them a little wider so that you can really see them good. Don't worry if these things are perfectly straight. I actually put these boards in here crooked all over the place. So once you get your top one done, now we just got to put dots of glue on each of these pieces here. There's little dots. Okay, now we're going to take our second row of boards here, and again I'm going to, when I do this, I'm going to leave a gap between this board and the one I just put down and make sure that I'm centered on this frame. And then just keep working your way across the car. That one I guess I cut a little long. I don't know how I did that, but I'll cut that off. Okay, we're just going to keep going here. Had a little bit of trouble there with the camera, so I needed to make some more space. Alright, well that's pretty sloppy looking, but I think that'll look good on there. Obviously, if you want a nicer looking car, you can make those a little straighter. So I'm going to keep going, get these next two rows down on here, again leaving all the space between the boards and just making them look real crooked and wore out, and then we'll come back and we'll finish it up. Okay, got the 4 rows of boards on here, and leaving gaps, keep them all the way down to the bottom of the top door rail here. And now we're just going to fill in these triangles, and if you have scraps of those same 1x8s, you can just go ahead and grab them and just glue them down all the way both sides. and then we will flip it over and then go ahead and then we'll just trim off all the ends. So we'll just go ahead and finish up these corners here quick, and I just do each one again, just grabbing whatever boards at this point, sticking them on there. Piece here to cut. Okay, that's on there. Then we'll just flip it over, and it's kind of a weird angle here, and then we'll just go ahead and trim off the bottom. Get rid of those. If you've got some sticking on the inside, trim off those. And then, of course, trim off the end. Then you go ahead and do that. Get the whole side finished up, so you'll have two sides. And there's no siding on this, and if you're putting siding on the doors, go ahead and do that now. One more thing you may want to do before we assemble these cars, and after you've sided them, is putting nail impressions on the back. I think adds a lot, and I'm just using a pin vise here with a dulled stick pin in it, and I just go along the inside of the boards where there's joints, and I just push down little nail impressions. It really doesn't take long. You don't have to be accurate. This isn't like we're making a rivet line on a steel hopper or a steel tender or something. Whoops, I just went through on that. That'll be interesting looking. And reminds me of the way they framed my house. And go through here and make sure I'm on camera, and just go ahead and just randomly start applying the nails as you would nail this thing together yourself. I'm sure there wasn't much science to any of it. So you can go ahead and do that, and then when we get this all done, then we'll put the car frame together, and it'll start looking like something after this point.